Hola, abuelo, ¿cómo está?
No, aquí bien, ¿no?
Ah,
Aquí
bueno.
estoy
Preséntese, abuelo.
presente para, aquí estoy, Reinerio Queta, criollo, aquí en la comunidad cofana.
Ujú.
Y aquí haciendo preparando mi medicina para tomar esta noche. Todo vamos a
Ah, bueno.
tomar con mi gente, dije.
Abuelo, ¿para usted qué significa la palabra yagé? ¿Por qué le denominan yagé a la plantica?
La plantica se domina porque uno prepara, porque el yagé que es más brava, porque es uno según que como uno prepara para que
Sí.
emborrache bien.
¿Y la palabra de dónde proviene, yagé?
El palabra viene de el canto y todo viene por espiritual de yagé.
Ya. ¿Y qué proceso cuando están cocinando el remedio? ¿Cuál es el proceso que le realizan así de cantos, de espiritual cuando están cocinando? ¿Cuál es el proceso que le hace al remedio?
El remedio.
Sí, el proceso que le realiza. Cuando están así cocinando, le cantan, ¿cómo es el proceso?
Sí, ahí nosotros cuando estamos cocinando yagé en una paila, ya pusimos a cantar y tocamos armónica y cogimos guaira, todo.
Ah, bueno. ¿Y qué clase de yagé está preparando ahí, abuelo?
Aquí estamos preparando el yagé tigre.
Yagé tigre.
Yagé tigre.
Este en la pinta la visión del tigre.
De visión de tigre, sí.
Ya. Y hay dos clases de yagé, el cocinado y el crudito. ¿Nos puede explicar un poquito acerca de las clases de las distintas clases de yagé?
Yagé, ¿no? Vea, yagé, hay yagé boa, yagé cielo, yagé trueno, y yagé pildé, y yagé huitoto. Esas plantas de yagé que uno ha conocido aquí.
Y este se encuentra en la selva propiamente y también tienen las que ustedes cultivan propiamente en su territorio, ¿cierto?
El yagé tigre, sí, eso sí, se puede encontrar en la selva.
En la selva propiamente.
Propiamente, ese
Sí.
no es cultivado. Uno según que ya uno consigue, ya puedes sacar semilla para sembrar aquí.
Él bota semilla y se puede sembrar acá, ya.
Acá, sí.
Ah, y las otras clases de yagé también se encuentran allá en la selva y también ¿no?
Otra clase de yagé si no encuentra, ese ya es sembrado ya.
El único que se encuentra propiamente en la selva es el tigre.
El tigre.
Ya.
Esa no.
Ah, bueno, abuelo, muchas gracias.
Bueno,
The Yale Psychedelic Science Group. So this is a different type of lecture than we usually had. A lot of times we come and we have speakers come and talk about the research that's going on, but here we've got an indigenous perspective. So my friend and teacher Claudia here is a musician and combo facilitator, and she's down right now in Colombia visiting the Cofanes, the Cofan reservation in Putumayo, and she's been playing some music for them for some of their yagé ceremonies. So the spiritual head of the Cofán people is this Taita. He's a cacique, the chief of the Cofán people there. Taita Querubín Queta, and this Queta family are well-known spiritual healers around the world. So this guy Taita Querubín he's 107, and he's got a lot of wisdom, and a lot of his family members are following along on the path. And today his nephew Bernardo is coming. He's a little late, but he's gonna come, and they're gonna share some of their wisdom about the history and the role of music in their tradition and ceremonies, what that plays, the roles and the importance of music, and how it can be differently used as a tool and modality, different chants, the harmonica. They've got like this evolution of music that they've used. Now they're using guitars and things and guairas. So they'll talk about that. And she's also with her friend who's a musician, Juan Carlos Heredia. So they'll be talking. They've been playing together in Colombia, and we'll get some of their perspectives too, because they've been playing for they have a lot of combined experience playing for different types of ceremonies with yagé, which is another term for ayahuasca. Thank you for coming. You know, this is a good opportunity, and we had our course offering. We talked about the importance of indigenous knowledge as we develop this field of psychedelic psychotherapy. So we're really happy to have them here today, support them. So Claudia, what do you have for us?
Gracias. So we're tuning in from the Cofán reservation, where Juan Carlos here and I, we've been playing music in a band together for the last year on and off. We've been mostly assisting in ceremonies, and we have the honor of being here with Taita Reinerio Queta of the Cofán tribe. So we're honored to have assisted him and his nephew in ceremony. He's passing on this wisdom to his grandson, also Alexis, and other young members of his community. Taita Bernardo started drinking medicine when he was 8. So he's done the dieta, as I mentioned in the bio, and to really be in tune with those forest spirits and ask permission and learn to speak their language, which is very improvised. It seems like it's a form of channeling, the way I see it. ¿Usted cuándo empezó a tomar medicina, Taita?
¿De qué tiempo? ¿De cuando está pequeño?
De cuando está pequeño, más o menos, ¿cuántos años?
Yo tomé con mi papá de 12 años.
He was about 12 years old, Taita Reinerio, when he started. Y Taita Bernardo como a los 8 años, me dijo.
Ellos tomaron
cuando era chiquito. Sí, sí. Yeah, so he was 12 years old, and then his son was 8 years old when they began this journey. So yeah, that's it as far as me. I've been assisting in ceremonies and working with Kambo now for 6 years. So I incorporate some of the sound healing into that. And so also I've been studying with ethnomusicologist Alessandra Belloni, who she's an amazing teacher who focuses on the Southern Italian rites of sound healing through mostly tarantella, which is something that's used to heal traumas, especially sexual traumas. So that's one of the things that brought me to sound healing. Also, I was a DJ at Alex and Allison Gray's Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. So I learned a little bit about how to use that music energy to help people through their journey, and how to incorporate that into visual art as well. So yeah, that's basically my story. And Juan Carlos is a music teacher. He studied at the Instituto Popular de Cultura, which is a music school here in Colombia, in Cali. So he has been studying this and has been beginning his apprenticeship with the Cofán. Today he gets his Waida, so that's a big deal. They're handing him the leafed instrument that you use to play to heal, to cleanse. So yeah, that's our story.
Yeah, can you talk about the Waidas, or have Taita Reinerio talk about the Waidas?
Ajá, ¿puede mostrar una Waida, Taita? ¿Podemos mostrar? ¿Le bajamos una o está bien? So the Waida is a leafed instrument we're going to show you right now. And it's made of bamboo leaves, actually. It's a type of bamboo. This is what it looks like. Esta es la Waida. So haga movimiento de cómo la usa. So that's how it's used in cleansing. And it also replicates the experience of having nature sounds especially one in the city. Here it's kind of funny because we hear them all around, but when you use the Waira, eso absorbe energía, ¿cierto?
Sí, eso es
It absorbs energy. So, y luego la suelta como usted manejando la energía, la va soltando hacia afuera o la absorbe la hoja?
La hoja.
The leaf
hoja.
itself absorbs the energy. And hay un tiempo como que tiene que uno reemplazar la guaira o se va cayendo poco a poco.
Poco a poco va cayendo.
It falls apart little by little, and that's how you know that that energy has been absorbed, and that's when you replace your Waida. So for them to, you know, do something like give Juan Carlos a Waida, that's a very sacred act, because it means they're giving him permission to work with these tools, with this sound healing. And I sent a video to you showing how they do this, how they use it in ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good look at the Waida there. Okay.
And what is the sound of the Waira during the ceremony? How does that help facilitate the process?
Que cómo el sonido de la guaira ayuda a facilitar el proceso de la persona, tal vez. Sí, sí, el sonido o el acto de hacer eso.
De la sonido, porque uno mueve la mano y este guaira suena.
¿Y eso ayuda con algo?
Le ayuda a uno para la defensa de uno. Por eso el guaira es una espada.
The guaira is a sword. It's used as a defense tool. And when you wave it around with the hand around the person, you're helping infuse that protective energy into them. As well as absorbing, you're also giving them like their spiritual sword. So that's what the Waida represents.
Awesome. And can you talk about the evolution of music in the Yake ceremonies, like what they used to use, and then up until present day, like how they started incorporating more instruments or whatnot?
Si puede hablar sobre el uso de la música en las ceremonias de Yagé, tal vez como eran originalmente y luego cómo han evolucionado con el tiempo y cambiado durante el tiempo.
La música.
La música, sí, sonidos y música.
La música, sonido, nosotros hacemos de las 12 para arriba, no parar. Que primero toman el remedio nuestro para concentrar, después y tocamos música hasta amanecer.
Entonces se toma, digamos, a las 9 de la noche.
Las 9 de la noche.
Y después de medianoche.
Medianoche toma vuelta, ¿no?
Vuelta.
De ahí sí ya.
De ahí se sigue. And so how they usually structure the ceremony is around 9 p.m., at least here. They drink the first cup, and then after midnight, they start actually playing music. First, they start with harmonica and chants, and then we go into guitar and other music. Y esa música, ¿cómo ayuda a la gente en su proceso, diría usted?
La música ayuda la energía que uno está mal, la música pasa la energía para el que uno está mal, ¿no? Entonces la música coge como más fuerza. Sí.
So when people are in the process and starting to feel bad or ill, the music kind of helps give them more strength so that they can better their process. What I would add to that myself is that it helps stop the overthinking. I believe that's what the music does. It sort of puts you in a hypnotic spell, positive one, which is why you have to be very careful what music you choose. There are certain tones and certain things, especially lyrics. If you start singing about certain negative things, definitely a big no-no. In Yagé ceremonies, you have to have all positive lyrics. ¿Tú qué le añadirías a eso, tú que eres músico? And so Juan Carlos is going to speak a little on that, and I'll translate.
Hola. Me hago aquí que ahí está como otra vez. Hola, bueno, mi nombre es Juan Carlos Heredia. La música, pues según digamos como que lo que he podido como también entender acerca de lo que enseñan también los abuelos es que antiguamente digamos, los taitas y los sabedores más del pasado, los antepasados.
Espera. So his name is Juan Carlos Heredia, and from what he's understanding through working with the elders here in these communities is that the elders and taitas in times of distant past.
La música en ese entonces pues no se hacía como música, ¿cierto, abuelo? La música era la naturaleza.
La naturaleza, sí.
Entonces la música en ese entonces en las tomas de ayahuasca no era con guitarra ni con instrumentos, sino que la misma música era el sonido de la lluvia, era el sonido del viento con los árboles, era los cantos, las guairas, esa era la música en ese entonces, y en la medida del tiempo ha venido evolucionando, ya incorporándose con instrumentos como la guitarra, el charango.
Okay, so in ancient times, the music was mostly nature sounds. You would hear the river, the birds, maybe the taita would do the chants, and then eventually the waida. With time, that music has evolved. Once cuando llegaron los españoles vino la armónica, ¿no? Y la guitarra. So when the Spaniards came a couple of hundred years ago is when they started incorporating the guitar and the harmonica into the ceremonies, and thus the music began evolving from that moment, or maybe we shouldn't say evolving, but changing into what it is today, which means that now we have drums, we have singing, and we have specific songs that are also used in ceremonies.
Dentro de la ceremonia, digamos que la persona que está llevando a cabo la música tiene también pues una cierta responsabilidad en cuanto a que no puede ser cualquier tipo de música, y hay un momento específico y especial en el cual la música se debe de hacer. No puede ser como cualquier tipo de música, y la música que se realiza en la toma de medicina es una música que ayuda a equilibrar la energía en todo el espacio y que ayuda también a conectar a todas las personas también con Dios, y pues esto ayuda, digamos, como a elevar la frecuencia, la vibración y la energía de las personas durante la toma de la ayahuasca para poder llevar los procesos, como dice el Taita, con más fuerza.
So you can't just play any music in ceremony. They're very specific, as we heard before, about which, the timing of the music. They basically wait for that first cup to start setting in. And that's when they play the music, usually around midnight or after. And it can't just be any tone or any lyric. It has to be very specific things which help raise the vibration. Generally, you start with softer tones. Me as a percussionist, I have to really watch it because the drum can either enhance or break people. We call it a chuma. The chuma is when you're like deep in the state of the ayahuasca or of the yagé journey. Pinta is kind of like the nice phase, and chuma is when you've really gone deep. So you can affect those states with the drum. I've been asked to drum softer. I've been asked in some cases when people are processing very hard, I have to not play the drum at all. And the same thing can be said for music that's very hyper. You might want to mellow it out. If people are having very strong processes, you have to just feel the energy of the room and be very conscious of how these things affect the individuals.
Otra cosa es que las letras de esta música son letras, por eso se llama este tipo de música, digamos, el género musical se llama música medicina. Medicina porque es medicina para el alma. Entonces las letras hablan sobre la sanación, sobre el perdón, sobre cuando las personas están en ese estado de catarsis interna tan profundo. Ahí es donde la música, las letras llegan a impregnar y llegan realmente a tocar el corazón también, y las melodías. Entonces, digamos que esta música ayuda en el proceso de catarsis, tanto con las letras que hablan sobre el amor, hablan sobre el perdón, hablan sobre la sanación, sobre la fuerza, hablan sobre Dios. Y en el momento en el que estamos, digamos, como bajo el efecto del yagé,
Esta música lo que hace es que llega más profundo a nuestro corazón, a nuestras almas, y ahí se puede generar a través de las ondas, porque el sonido, la música es ondas de vibración. Estas mismas ondas empiezan a sanar nuestro cuerpo vibratoriamente, nuestra mente, nuestras emociones, y por ende pues ayuda al proceso de sanación de todo el ser en general.
So again, you have to be very selective with the lyrics, and they help it, not only the sound frequencies, but the lyrics help attune you to love, to God, to forgiveness. ¿Qué más dijiste?
Sobre el perdón, sobre el amor, sobre la fuerza.
They
sobre
help you
Dios.
process love, strength, God,
Le habla uno
consciousness.
a la planta, también
And
cantándole a la planta.
yeah, you're also, this is a very important thing. This is a way that you're giving offerings to the plant spirit of ayahuasca. So sound is one of the most powerful tools that you can offer, because in indigenous culture, everything is reciprocity. You know, you receive and you give. So when the plant is giving you this beautiful strength and all these things that it's teaching you, you're giving back through your music. You're giving back to it. So that's a form of offering as well. And ¿y qué dijiste de las frecuencias que elevan?
La música son frecuencias.
Music is frequency. Voy a traducir mientras.
Las frecuencias, el sonido, la música viene de unas ondas.
The sound comes from these waves.
Cuando nosotros estamos tomando nuestra medicina,
when we're drinking the medicine,
estas frecuencias en la música,
these frequencies in the music,
como en la física cuántica,
like in quantum physics,
de cuando ese experimento en el que se le habla al vaso con agua,
like in that experiment where you talk
y
to the water molecules,
y cambian las moléculas,
and the molecules change,
es recordar que gran porcentaje de nuestro cuerpo es agua.
is remembering that a big percentage of our body is made of water.
Entonces estas ondas de sonido,
so these sound waves,
que en realidad son luz,
which are actually light,
empiezan a modificar lo que es como también la parte, digamos, genética inclusive.
They even begin to change things like your genetic coding, for instance.
Y empieza a penetrar
and they begin to penetrate
todo nuestro cuerpo,
your entire body,
nuestras emociones,
your emotions,
nuestra mente,
your mind,
nuestro ser,
your being,
y empieza a generar en forma
and it begins to generate
armónica
in the form,
y equilibrada
harmoniously and balanced,
una alineación,
an alignment
con Dios,
with God,
y con la planta,
with the plant as well,
con la tierra,
with the earth,
y con nosotros mismos.
and with ourselves.
Ese es el proceso de la música medicina.
That's the process of medicine music.
Beautiful. Can you ask about the chants that are used, like what they mean? Are they tonal? Are they specific to specific spirits? What do they mean, the chants that are used? And where do they come from? Do they come from Queta, or are they passed down? Like where do the...
Entonces Taita quiere ella saber los cantos, de dónde vienen, qué significan, y sus cantos, sus rezos, son algo espontáneo o tienen como un lineaje o un significado específico. ¿Qué nos puede decir?
Tenemos los cantos.
They have chants.
De mismo planta de medicina.
The plant themselves.
Él, cuando uno se toma, él manda todos esos cantos para nosotros poder cantar.
When you drink the medicine, the plant itself gives them those chants for them to be able to heal and sing.
Y si no tomamos medicina, uno para cantar no podemos cantar. Como hoy, ¿no? Ahorita me pongo a cantar. No me sale el canto.
Without
tomando medicina, ahí sí uno canta normalmente. Uno se oye todo.
Without the medicine, you really can't chant these chants. This is something that's just given to you during the state of inebriation that the medicine brings. So without the medicine, he's unable to properly do those chants, which they come out as a manifestation of drinking the medicine itself. Mm-hmm. What was the other part of the question?
Oh, if they if they had specific meanings, are they two specific spirits? But you're saying that they're coming from the plants
So,
themselves.
entonces no tienen ningún significado específico, es más como...
El yagé no tiene significado específico.
No specific meaning.
Tenemos tomar yagé y esperar para que llegue el canto. El canto no llega de por aquí, el canto viene del ego. Uno se oye que llega y cuando uno ya llega aquí en la cabeza ya uno ya
empieza. So no, it's something very spontaneous. I would say it's channeled. And when they drink the medicine, that's why they wait so long to start the sounds, because they're waiting for the medicine to transmit it. They say that the sound comes from very far away. So that's why it takes a little while. And once you start to hear it in your head, that's when you start to say it out loud. So I would say it's a very spontaneous form of channeling through a plant substance that's communicating directly with them, with their soul and the people, the participants.
So if somebody doesn't have, is it difficult to facilitate an experience without being on the medicine then? And you're saying he said it's really hard to sing those chants and stuff.
Well, I can tell you here, unlike in other places, they drink the medicine before they serve it to the other people, just so that they can be in that state. So usted diría que es imposible hacer esa sanación si usted, el taita, no está tomando la medicina, obvio.
Sí, cuando uno no está tomando medicina, no hay sanación. Cuando estamos tomando medicina, ahí sí hay sanación para la gente.
So yeah, the only way that they can impart this healing is through drinking the medicine themselves. If they haven't drank medicine in their tradition anyway, they're not able to do these healings, because then they can't enter into that state of direct communication with the plant.
So in theory, it would be difficult to use the songs that they're using. The Yagé ceremonies would say like a mushroom ceremony or something, because that's something that we talk about, like is cross using different types of medicine when people are curating different playlists for different experiences. Like
I mean, the music is one thing that's been more recent, but I think the chants themselves are very specific to Yagé. ¿Usted qué diría sobre, esta es una escuela, ¿no? Que ellos usan diferentes plantas y sustancias para sanación. Entonces, ellos quieren saber si, por ejemplo, alguien está haciendo una sanación ellos usan a veces hongos. La música de Yagé no estaría incorporada en eso. Es diferente. Pues especialmente los cantos, obvio. Los cantos no, eso es ya solo de Yagé.
Sí, porque el canto de música de la guitarra ahora canta a mi Dios Cristo todo para que ayude a sanar a la persona que está en la sanación.
Yeah, so you can listen to the music, but as far as the actual healing, that's specific to Yagé. Through the guitar, through the music, that's going channeling God, Christ consciousness, and helping heal that person directly. So it would be hard to translate that into other substances. And as we said, especially the chants, those are specific to Yagé. I would add that you can listen to the music. It's not necessarily disrespectful. It's just that the healing tones, and as we said, the specific chants that go with the Yagé medicine, those are, it's like a team effort for the music, the Yagé, the Taitas, the instruments, the Waitas, all these things together combine into the healing. So to incorporate that into another type of ceremony would be very difficult. That doesn't mean that people can't listen to these chants or songs, but the healing itself would not be complete. That's just what I have to add to it.
Yeah, and can you talk a little bit about the dynamic of the music? Like, I know he's saying the songs are coming with the medicine, and like it's not like he has a set playlist or a set list that is gonna do. Can you talk a little bit about like using the music in a dynamic way according to how the experience is going? Like, is it individualized? Is it more based on the group vibe and experience, or how, if somebody's having a difficult experience, can the music be used is it in an individualized way, going up and singing a song specifically for that person, or something like that?
Entonces ella quiere saber sobre la dinámica de la música, del proceso y del grupo. Entonces, por ejemplo, si alguien está teniendo un proceso muy fuerte, usted puede cambiar la música o prefiere hacer como cantos sobre esa persona. ¿Cuál es la dinámica entre la música y los procesos? Y si hay, por ejemplo, un proceso fuerte, ¿cómo usted sincroniza eso? ¿Será al individuo o al grupo? ¿Qué puede explicar sobre eso?
Eso se puede hacer en grupo. Sí, personas que hay todo. Por eso llamamos a música tal hora, cuando ya estamos en grupo sentados para que toque, para nosotros escuchar los cantos. La música que toca es una cosa como sagrado. La música es una cosa sagrada. Por eso es que nosotros tenemos horas para que venga a tocar.
So again, there's a very specific time because they're trying to build like a collective experience. So after midnight, when the medicine is kicking in, they tune into these things because music is very sacred, and that they have a very specific way of building up that collective consciousness and building a joint experience for everyone to be able to sort of enter into the space together. Y si alguien está teniendo un proceso muy difícil, usted hace más cantos y guayas, ¿cierto? And if someone is having like a very difficult process, generally the music can sometimes keep going. Sometimes they stop it, and then the taita comes over them with the waita, and he does the chants. Y también armónica, hay veces?
Armónica.
Sí, and they also do harmonica. Like if they're having a difficult process, they check in on you, and the music can still be going, but maybe they might ask the musician to mellow out the music. Sometimes they just kind of wait till in between songs and have stop the music for a second. And they do the waita. They sort of not only do the healing with it, but they actually literally fan you off with it to kind of cool you down. And then you do the chants, which go with the rhythm of the waita. They also drag their feet, which is really cool. I've seen the stomping of the feet, but here they drag it. So it's like a lot smoother way of like adding a little beat to the waita. And you can see some of that in one of the videos that I sent. And then the harmonicas, which again, kind of like a lot of these elements get rid of this overthinking tendency. And then I've seen people instantly calm down as soon as they start doing these chants and fanning off with the waita and doing the harmonica. Within 5 minutes, usually the person's well, even within a couple of minutes sometimes. So
we got a question about someone who said that in their experience they perceived things like the waitas as a scary sound, and does that have to do with the skill of the practitioner, or is it have to do with just like lack of familiarity, or how it can be perceived differently to some people being okay, like a comfortable thing or a scary thing? What elements might be contributing to that?
I think it's a different thing for everybody. For one, I don't know where this person's from, but if you live in a city, there's a big movement, it seems, to get people, or at least in my generation, we were taught to fear nature, you know? So I think if you think the sound of leaves is scary, you might want to analyze your relationship with nature in general, because I don't really see why that would be scary. Waita itself means wind. So it's meant to replicate wind. Also, another thing I'm going to add to this is when you drink yagé, you're actually meant to confront your fears. So this isn't all meant to be just super comfortable. It's meant to trigger as well. Sometimes these triggering things are some of the most healing things. You might want to actually go within and analyze why it is you have a fear the sound of leaves. And if it doesn't have anything to do with society, then it might have to do with a personal experience that you had in your childhood. Maybe you rustled through some leaves and came upon something. I don't know. But as far as the Waida is a very, very important tool in this ceremony. So I would say if you want to work with yagé in the Colombian tradition, and the Peruvians call it a chacapa, then you might want to go to the Brazilian ceremonies where they don't use that. But my suggestion is confront, and not only confront these fears, but embrace these fears and have someone work over you with a Waida. That way you can embrace that and hopefully get rid of that fear, because this is how this healing works. It's not meant to be comfortable. As we know, some of the deepest healing happens outside of the comfort zone. So if you have fear with it, then let that fear be triggered, and I would embrace it personally, and learn to love it, you know, because it's a very beautiful healing experience that they have to share, and I find it very soothing personally. So, but yeah, something that you might want to, you know, check out. And if you really don't want the Waida, then maybe go to the Brazilian tradition, because they're the only ones that I know don't use it. The Colombians and Peruvians both use it in their healing work with ayahuasca.
We had another question that was well, just like a general question about how often are these ceremonies, and like who participates in these ceremonies. And like, you know, welcoming outsiders, is it like, it's not really, are they pretty welcomed and whatnot?
There's some tribes that don't welcome outsiders in the deeper Amazon. Here they do. And then they have some, they call them tomas. They have some ceremonies that are just for family. We were honored enough to get here the first day. So the first day they were having a toma just for the family, and they allowed us to be part of it. They've also instructed Juan Carlos here to drink medicine on his own. So they gave him the blessing and permission to drink medicine. They gave him a liter of medicine, and then just told him to stay home, connect with it, and play music, so that he was able to navigate these realms. So, you know, there's a lot of controversy about drinking medicine on your own. But this is one situation where someone not only was given permission to, but actually instructed to drink medicine on their own through the blessing of the Taita. And as a musician, it's a very important thing to connect with that medicine and know how to navigate those realms, which he's been doing. Him and I also drank medicine together. We actually called the Taita and let him know we're doing that. And then in one occasion, he even heard the Taita was having a ceremony, and he heard the harmonicas in the background, which, you know, at that same time, the Taita was many miles away, but you start to connect with that person. ¿Y cada cuánto ustedes tienen ceremonias aquí? I'm asking him how often.
Ceremonias cada 8 días.
Every weekend they have ceremonies, and they drink both nights usually. El viernes y sábado toman?
Sí, hay gente, toman el sábado y el miércoles por la noche, como hoy. Hoy estamos que lunes. Mañana martes, pasado mañana y tomamos un poquito aquí. ¿Va a estar ustedes?
No, nos vamos mañana, desafortunadamente. So they usually drink sometimes both nights on the weekend, sometimes just the Saturday, and then they drink on Wednesdays. So they drink twice a week generally. Sometimes more, like this week we drank, esta semana hicimos ¿cuántas? ¿3 tomas? Tres tomas para. So this week, for instance, they had three medicine circles for outsiders, but really we had 4, because we had the one that was just like the family as well. So that was altogether we had 4 this week, but this week was their very first retreat here. So yeah, and this is the space. This is the makeshift maloca right now. Everybody hangs in these hammocks. The altar is over there. We hope to improve the Maloca, and over there is the encampment. We just right now have some tents set up under a little tarp, but they want to build cabins. So in the near future, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe so that we can maybe help everybody here build a good, nice encampment for them to be able to host outsiders. Right now, this was their very first retreat, but they want to have these every 6 months, so twice a year, if time and money allows. And my goal is to bring them to the States eventually. So please help send those prayers out there so that we may get the proper paperwork and so that we might be able to share these beautiful ancient traditions from the Cofanes, who are the wisdom keepers of the Yagé medicine of Colombia. They are the most revered tribe. It's sort of the Mecca of Yagé culture here.
I have another question about in some traditions where just the shaman or whoever's serving ayahuasca will take it and sing, and not the person that they're healing, like in a more personal context. And has it always been in their tradition that everybody takes it, or has there been previously tradition where just the healer will take it and then sing to the person that they were working with? And like, how has that evolved, and is one better than the other, or?
Okay, good question. I ask this often myself. Entonces, Taita quiere saber, ella y su clase. La pregunta es que hay algunas tribus y algunas culturas que el chamán, el taita, es el que toma la medicina y no los pacientes, ¿no? Y él hace la sanación. Pero ahora aquí los pacientes y el taita toma. Pero habían tiempos que solo el taita tomaba y los pacientes recibían sanación, o siempre
Sí,
han tomado.
recibía sanación nomás, pero no
tomaban.
No tomaban, porque la gente mayores antes no dejan tomar a los blancos. Y no, ahora sí ya todo ya tomamos.
¿Y cuándo cambió eso?
Eso ya se cambió, ya va a ser como más de 30 años, 40 años.
30, 40 años. So yeah, for a long time,
ya se cambió ahora.
They did only, the taitas drank the medicine because they didn't let outsiders or white people drink the medicine. That was the main reason why, so that the taitas themselves would drink it and then diagnose and process. But in the last between 30 and 40 years, outsiders have been allowed to drink the medicine. ¿Y sabe por qué permitieron eventualmente gente de afuera tomar?
Tomar porque saben que ya más o menos la misma taita ya conoce muchas personas y ellos dicen que no, si va a tomar o no va a tomar. Por eso ellos cuando va allá, dice, si va a tomar, venga al Maloca o donde están tomando. Y si no va a tomar, no puede llegar.
So,
por eso cuando uno llega ahí a tomar, sí.
So there's times that people just basically started wanting to drink, and that's why they allowed it. And then there's times when people who don't want to drink aren't allowed in the Maloca as well. So that's how they do it here. But you know, there's exceptions to the rules, but for the most part, I guess just demand. People wanted to start partaking in the medicine, and then they eventually started allowing it. And like everything, they adapted with the times.
We got another couple questions in here about what would motivate the Kofanes to want to go to the USA and share their traditions, and what do they think about all of these white people wanting to take medicine?
Ustedes, ¿cuál es la motivación por querer ir a los Estados Unidos o otros lugares del mundo? ¿Y cómo se sienten ustedes de gente de afuera, digamos gente blanca o gente que no es indígena, tomar medicina? ¿Qué es lo que piensa de eso?
Pues eso nosotros pensamos, la gente que hay unos que quieren tomar medicina porque ellos saben, porque La medicina es sagrada, y también medicina cuando uno toma, y también se va sanando el cuerpo que uno vive enfermo. Medicina no es porque uno para tomar, ¿no? Medicina hay curación que cura también cuando toma uno.
Voy a traducir. So the reason that they are okay with it is because they say everybody needs healing. That this is a medicine that isn't drank recreationally. You don't just drink it to drink it. When you come to yagé, you should need some kind of healing. And that's why they're okay now with anybody drinking it, as long as they're called to it and not just coming to it for thrills. And they're coming to it for some kind of healing, which I believe everyone needs on some level. Then that's why they've changed their ways and feel that it's okay. So that's the motivating factor as well, to wanting to come to the States and travel around now with it, to share these healing experiences, to help heal the world, especially in these difficult times.
So what advice might he have to give to people who are using psychedelics in this clinical setting about music and like how to incorporate music? Should we be trying to find new musicians that can specifically create music for these experiences? Like I know there are some musicians that are creating psilocybin playlists or whatever, or specific music for journeying. And we know there are lots of artists that have created that, with, knowing that their followers are going to be going through journeys and whatnot. Like how do we, with this understanding that music is important, how do we use it in a clinical setting? Like how can we respectfully use it and like and enhance the experience, not ignoring the importance of that, but not appropriating anything or using things appropriately?
¿Qué consejo le daría a estos científicos, ¿no? Que quieren ahora incorporar música en viajes con plantas y psicodélicos en general? Y hay veces lo hacen en ¿cómo se dice? En un ambiente clínico, que es muy difícil replicar este ambiente de la selva en la ciudad, y todavía hay mucha gente, digamos, en manicomios o en otros que muy enfermos que necesitan sanación. Entonces, si uno está en un ambiente clínico y quiere usar música o sonido, ¿qué consejo le daría a un músico o a una persona que está haciendo estas ceremonias para incorporar esta sanación en su proceso?
Cuando uno está en ceremonia o haciendo sanación, ¿no?
When you're in ceremony or doing healing.
Según la música él toca, puede aceptarse para que él toque. Si no, como hay una música que toca mundana, usted sabe que la música mundana, eso no aceptamos, porque en sanación es cosa bien sagrada, porque uno sanación está pidiendo mi Dios, todo está haciendo eso, porque si no, el sanación, por eso toda la gente vive, porque si uno no, como uno llegara así, como yo cuando ese guayra, ese no es sanación. Tiene que pedir a mi Dios para poder hacer sanación, para que ellos adelante y recupere las enfermedades.
So, gracias. So he's saying that you can't just use any mundane or like popular music in healing. That the main thing he would give advice on is to ask permission and to really connect with that great spirit, God consciousness. When doing these healings, you can't just take a waida and wave it over a person and think that that's going to do anything. You have to really have your heart in it. You have to be connected with God. So even if you're in a clinical setting, the main thing is that you have a deep connection with yourself, with the God consciousness, and with that patient, and that those elements all create the healing that's possible through the sound and through the music.
We have one question. When on ayahuasca, many say they embody an animal like a condor, snake, jaguar. Can he talk about that? And does music help facilitate that? Like, is it part of intention of using specific songs or specific music? Like, is that a function of that you're speaking to that spirit, or does that just happen kind of spontaneously in someone's own experience?
Entonces, alguien tiene una pregunta que hay muchas veces que la gente se conecta con los espíritus durante el yagé, digamos, del cóndor, del águila, de la culebra, al jaguar. Entonces, quieren saber que si la música ayuda con eso o si es algo que pasa muy espontáneamente con solo la medicina o si hay algo que, digamos, ayuda a esa persona a conectar con ese espíritu de animal o salvaje durante la ceremonia de yagé.
Vea, eso, la música sí se puede conectarse con la espíritu de yagé, como que hay de, ¿cómo se llama? Hacen culebra, tigre, de toda clase de animales.
Music can help you connect with these animal spirits.
Y ahí pasan como la música se conecta con mi Dios. Por eso es que canta de Cristo, de todo, ¿no?
Music helps connect you to God. That's why there's sometimes chants about Christ and these things, because that is very much accepted here. It's not imposed. They very much accept the Christ consciousness.
Y por eso nosotros escuchamos la música, tambor, ¿no?
El tambor, that's why they listen to music with drums, harmonica,
y flauta.
And flute.
Sí, eso.
Primarily. Y guitarras también.
Y la guitarra.
And of course the guitar now. Yeah. Y al inicio usted decía que eran más flautas y tambores nada más, ¿no?
Sí, antes era solo flauta y tambor. Sí.
In the very beginning of Yagé culture, it was just flute and drum. That was how they, after the waida and the chanting, then they started incorporating the flute and the drum, and eventually the harmonicas and other things came. And he says that, yes, it can definitely help you tune into your spirit animal, not just the music, but the sounds as well, and the prayers and the chants.
Awesome. A couple other questions.
Otras dos preguntas.
Do women participate in the ceremonies, the Yagé ceremonies? Have they always? Because the history of that.
Que si las mujeres han siempre participado en las ceremonias o si eso es algo más nuevo.
Las mujeres antes participan. Las mujeres
siempre han participado.
Participa a tomar remedio, pero cuando están con
la luna.
Con la luna, eso sí no participa.
So women have always participated since ancient times. The only thing is they don't allow them to drink while on their moon. They isolate. They have to be far away. They can definitely not be near the taita or cross the altar. So if you're on your moon cycle, that's when you're not allowed to be in ceremony. And if you're on your moon cycle, not just during the ceremony, as long as the medicine is out, you can't cross over to that side of the altar. You have to be far away. So that's the only time that women aren't allowed to be, near the medicine when they're on their moon cycle.
I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So one more question here, and then we can wrap up a little bit the music. But what is the opinion on all these white people who are not having a lot of training and offering ayahuasca ceremonies? Is that dangerous?
Okay, let's ask. ¿Qué usted piensa de gente que no es indígena, que está ahora sin ningún entrenamiento y sin ningún enseñamiento sobre la cultura dando ayahuasca por todas partes del mundo. ¿Ustedes qué opinan de eso?
Pues eso estamos nosotros pensando. La gente que no, hay gente que dice que no, que fulano de Taita tomé hasta 10 años. Y eso es mentira, eso se van, toma una sola vez y ya, mire, y se van a repartir.
Y se van a repartir. So there's a lot of people who lie and they'll say, oh, I've been training with so-and-so for 10 years. And really they just drank with them one time. And then they go to the cities and start serving medicine. Entonces ustedes no apoyan eso, obvio. They don't support that. They don't support that, and they see a lot of it here. A lot of people who come and drink with them just once or twice, and they think that they're masters. Their apprenticeship is usually 30 years. If you want to learn yagé, usually you have to start as a child, and it's usually passed down through family lineages. So anyone who tells you they came here and learned something in a few months or a year, they're lying. And this is why I personally prefer to bring indigenous people to work with the medicine than me serving the medicine. I think I see a lot of this, and I know that there's people who do it and maybe even do it well, but I don't support that. I believe that if whenever possible, you can either go to the indigenous people or bring the indigenous people to your cities. And that way it's not just a thing of respect, but you're getting the proper healing. And also you're supporting these communities. You know, there's people who charge between $200 and $800. And here they charge very little, you know, and the money goes a long way. So whenever possible, I prefer to sit with people of indigenous descent. And now that I've connected with the Cofán community, who are the original birthplace of Yake culture of Colombia, I would much rather support them because I think it's pompous and egotistical to think that you can even begin to touch a tip of the iceberg of that healing process. And there's very few cases where maybe they give permission to someone who's an outsider, but usually it's a decades-long process of many, many years of apprenticeship. So, but generally it's done through their family lineage. And entonces, hay veces...
Oh, I was just going to say, you can ask your question, then I'll comment on it.
Hay veces que ustedes le dan permiso a gente no indígena para servir medicina. I was asking if there's times when examples of them giving permission to non-indigenous people.
A eso damos permiso, pero que ya conocemos cuántos tiempos que han venido a tomar remedio con nosotros.
Son muchos años.
Muchos años. A eso sí se puede. Y también, como doña Claudia, vea, que usted ya vino a conocer a donde vivimos en la selva, todo eso. Nosotros no somos de pueblo, que vivimos en ciudades, ¿no? Nosotros vivimos en la selva. Y de acá sale la medicina para allá, para afuera. Eso es propio indígena y cofánico que nosotros vivimos acá.
They said that they do give permission, but it's, like I said, many, many years. And maybe people like me who come here and see their ways and connect with the spirits of the jungle. They're not from cities, they're not from towns, they're from here, they're from the jungle. So it needs to be someone who spends a lot of time here in the jungle with them. And that's a decades-long process, as we explained. What was your other question?
It was, if you could talk a little bit about discernment with, even when sitting with indigenous people, that there can be dark magic or not, like how to be able to tell, you know, who's
dark,
because like, you know, people can go there like, oh, I'm gonna go and drink ayahuasca down in Colombia, and then they, you know, meet the first person that they say that concerns them. So like, how can you vouch?
That's something we deal with a lot. Entonces, ¿cuál usted puede dar consejo a gente que viene a sentar con gente indígena? ¿Cómo pueden ellos ver si esta persona trabaja con la luz, si son buenos, o si tal vez la persona que está sirviendo medicina puede ser una persona oscura. Entonces, ¿cómo usted puede aconsejar a la gente para que encuentren buenas personas para tomar?
A veces para encontrar a eso que están dando medicinas así, tenemos que tomar remedio y mirar a las personas cómo está dando de tomar yagé. Y el que no ha ido a aprender cosas bien buenas, a veces, por eso es que hay gente que se aloqueza, y hasta que dicen que se mueren en ciudades. Dice, ¿y por qué? Ellos no tienen conocimiento para yagé.
So one of the ways is just like, hopefully you have someone good to drink with yagé, and you ask the plant itself, should you drink with this other person? And the plant itself will tell you, and you can just kind of feel out the vibe of that person. But there's cases where if there's dark magic involved, the plant will tell you that there's dark magic and that you don't want to be messing with that person. And it doesn't matter. There's, you know, some people say, oh, they're indigenous people, but really there's actually a lot of dark magic even within these cultures. And just like everywhere, there's good people and not so good people here. I'm blessed to have met this family. Everyone here is a family person. They have really good hearts. And even here within this community, there's people that use dark magic. So they to know who sort of the bad energy is coming from, they drink medicine, even sometimes by themselves. And they ask the plant, you know, where is this bad energy coming from? And the plant will tell them. There's even been cases where they've pulled out, they call them darts here, like when other taitas send dark energy to, usually it's mostly out of jealousy or competition. So when there's something like somebody sending you negative vibes, they've pulled out these shards of glass from specific parts of their body. They actually had a healing the other night where someone came and removed a large, this size about shard of glass physically from the person's body. And that represented some kind of like negative energy that happened. So that was actually being thrown from relatives themselves. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, just be very, very careful, be very discerning. When in doubt, just don't drink. My suggestion is just come here to this family. They're pretty cool. And if I ever bring them to the States, I've spent enough time here to know that they have a good heart and they put a lot of love into this work. So I'm honored to be here and be part of it. Do you have other questions?
No, Taita, quiero decir por nosotros, muchas gracias por tu tiempo aquí. Y quiero preguntar si pueden tocar algo, un poco música o como una canción para nosotros.
¿Usted quisiera tocar armónica o algo? ¿O nosotros tocamos? ¿Cómo quiere hacer?
Sí, se puede tocar.
Se puede tocar.
You guys hear it? Does it sound okay or does it sound bad?
Can you hear it?
We can hear loud and clear.
All right, here we go. We got Taita on my rondín. It's an honor to have him play my instrument here. So, okay, no se va a ver, solo se va a oír. Okay, gracias.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, much more with that if you come and sit with the Cofanes in Colombia.
You get so much more.
Yeah. They're so good with the harmonicas. We love it. So
They really are.
yeah, look it up. Look up some taitas on YouTube. Type in Taita Armonica. You can hear some of their music is really, really beautiful. So I highly recommend people checking that out. But
yeah, we'll put some of the videos we took here on YouTube as well, and you can put the links out.
Yeah, we'll send you guys link to some of the videos they sent. They sent some videos of limpia or urtication, which is what using like a stinging nettle type thing, and
the nettles are so much more stingy here.
Yeah.
Like syringes.
Yeah, and like whipping the skin and like using the waitas and chants during that ceremony and whatnot. So we'll just send you guys some links to some of those cool videos that she took while she was down there. So yeah, thank you again, everybody. I hope you have a good day and Happy New Year. Yeah.
Thank you. Hope to see everybody here one day soon.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.
Y aquí me salgo derecho para el río.
Si quiere derecho al agua también.
Listo.
No.
Ahora que se quedaron pedacitos de ortiga, partido en 3 pedazos. Me tocó otra. No,
Bueno, listo, ahora sí.
Gracias.
Primero hablo
¿Ya está grabando? Putumayo ande, no se ande su. Ukumari Kankhe, no se ande su. Yako nae, no se ande su. Yako nae, no se ande su. Kita yagé, matsuri pangikan se papa, simate su, ye hanya imanahi. Yagé makuri pate su pakan se ye. Yagé makuri pate su pakan se ye. Kita yagé, matsuri pangikan se papa, simate su, ye hanya imanahi. Yagé makuri pate su pakan se ye. Yagé makuri pate su pakan se ye. Diga quizás se pakuni kanse tu, que más está bueno, y hamachuku. Diga quizás se pakuni kanse tu, que más está bueno, y hamachuku. Diga mahina babu hat se está bueno, diga mahina babu hat se está bueno. Diga se pa babu hat se está bueno.
Bravo. ¿De qué habla esta canción, Cristian?
Habla de nuestra selva, de nuestro resguardo, de nuestros ríos y de las ceremonias del Yake.
Muchas gracias.
Ese es un abuelo en este.
Ese se llama el rondín.
Se llama rondín. Pero póngala al revés, así, así. Ajá.
Eso.
Usted por este lado, ¿cómo?
Yo la toco hacia el revés, ajá, así.
Así no sale música canción.
¿Cómo?
Así no sale música. Tiene que salir hablando.
Ajá.
Como mismo que la guitarra.
Igual que la guitarra, sí.
La guitarra tengo que coger ran, hace loco uno.
Sí.
Si no vaya punteando.
De a poquito, despacio.
Lento, va punteando a ver cómo habla.
A ver cómo le responde a uno la
suena
guitarra.
el ritmo de Yake, o cómo el sonido suena.
Ya.
Ajá. Así. Mira, tarde vamos, ahora noche vamos a hacerlo sonar.
Eso, ajá.
Ajá.
Ah, bueno, muchas gracias, abuelo. Que Dios me le bendiga.
Gracias.
Gracias por todo.
Conversar se entiende.
Sí.
Claro.
Gracias.